Dear Mr. Chair, dear colleagues, I'm an associate professor at Central European University, which is based in Hungary and Austria, and I serve as an academic rapporteur for the EU Cyber Direct project. I spend most of my time teaching and researching international relations. I do this to make sure that my students, before they enter their professional life in policy, private sector or academia, do not take decisions without taking into account the broader context, and that ideally they base their decisions on decades of social and political science scholarship. And it is in this spirit that I would like to make my intervention. Yesterday and today we have spent a significant amount of time talking about norm construction and operationalization and implementation of norms. This is not, however, the full story of how norms work in international politics and social life more generally, as scholarship on norms has shown us. The missing dimension to this discussion is norm contestation. Contestation meaning that some aspect of a norm is questioned. There is robust scholarship now spanning decades suggesting that only a contested norm is a robust norm. That is one which is legitimate and sustainable. Only a norm which is a result of a process of contestation to which all have equal access can reflect the realities of different constituencies, their normative input, and therefore be legitimate. Contestation, importantly, does not end when a norm is formally or informally adopted, but continues throughout the ordinary life of a norm. Norms have diverse aspects, which all are subject to differences in interpretation. The range of contestation includes disputes of the validity, the meaning, and the application of norms. For instance, the validity of the norm that states should not allow the use of their territory for malicious cyber attacks on other countries is undisputed, but what the use of territory means in a digital environment and what exceptions to this norm may exist may well be contested, and it is. Because a single norm has multiple components, actors may agree on the general purpose of the norm, and that is indeed what the UN GG 2015 report now present us with, but they contest specific prescriptions or parameters, that is when and how the norm should be applied. Incidents of norm breaches are also important for understanding how norms work. Behavior that violates norms does not necessarily undermine norms. It may in fact strengthen norm validity by defining the scope of their application. And therefore, the establishment of a norm is often most visible at an instance acknowledged as a breach. An actor in breach will go to great lengths to explain an action which is recognized as a failure to act on a norm. And we have this experience of soul-searching over non-action in humanitarian atrocities by the international community, which shows at least two things about norms. The existence of a norm against the arbitrary killing of civilians and the fact that this norm will not determine any one type of behavior. So norms guide, but they do not determine behavior. They create a normative environment in which actors weigh contrasting norms that prescribe different courses of action. This is how legitimacy is built up. Instances of norm violation or non-application, therefore, have a role to play in consolidating a community. Cyberspace has become a field of norm contestation, and in line with scholarship of norms, I would like to suggest that this is also a good thing. While there is a general commitment to fostering the stability of cyberspace and responsible behavior of both state and non-state actors, the stakeholders have different understandings of how such stability comes about. Contestation actually accommodates the multi-stakeholder model of the process in which actors learn from each other rather than being instructed and socialized into norms. And to take up the notion of human agency that we have focused on here yesterday and today, through contestation, norms can be developed in a participatory and inclusive manner, which helps bolster their legitimacy and sustainability. Open-ended working group can be indeed a good space to achieve cyber norms legitimacy, because it gives equal access to norm contestation to all the UN membership. There is, however, I would like to underscore, an important precondition for this process to bring about the expected change in behavior. Contestation needs to be done in good faith. Thank you.
Thank you for that intervention.